Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space. I hope you enjoy. During contacts with humanity, you are allowed to violate the basic diplomatic tradition, written by Evgeny Mart. Many are sure that galactic diplomats decided to make an exception in the main tradition because they are afraid of people and want to reduce the number of contacts to a minimum. As a member of the first diplomatic mission to Earth, approximately the native planet of people, I want to clarify the situation a little. Yes, we are afraid, but no, we are not afraid of people. We are afraid of their technique. As you know, the main diplomatic tradition is that all authorized representatives get to the meeting place and back on the transport of the race hosting this meeting. In this way, diplomats show their trust to the host race, which in turn can demonstrate their hospitality much earlier than arriving on the planet. If any race uses this tradition as a trap to kidnap diplomats or do some other nasty thing, it will immediately demonstrate to the whole galaxy its disrespect for general accepted rules, lose trust for a long time, and fall into diplomatic isolation. It seems that everyone benefits from this tradition. At least that was the case before people overcame bureaucratic obstacles and joined the Union. Another tradition to demonstrate mutual trust is that new members of the Union host the next diplomatic meeting on their planet. And it does not matter whether on their home planet or on the colony. Here the Union allows the races to hide their home for security purposes. Humanity did not have colonies, and it was not too paranoid, so the next meeting was being prepared on Earth. Representatives of races, including me, reached the human ship, which was waiting in the geographical center of the Union, generally accepted neutral territory, so that the races would not argue for the right of the place from which the meeting departed. The ship itself did not have anything remarkable. The instruments noted hundreds of nuclear warheads on its hulls, but they were warned that humanity loves to protect those from whom they are responsible, as well as they love weapons based on radioactive decay very much. Even if they had a bad plan, it would have been feasible without nuclear mining. It's time for departure, and so, what do you think? Which way of FTL travel did people choose? Perhaps it's the classic warp, or, if they are not very good at science, some other less stable subspace. Maybe they use a cocoon of black matter that particularly removes friction from any quarks and allows them quickly to accelerate to superluminal speed, and then slow down due to the gravitational maneuvers near the stars. Or how about a damned wormhole? We miss black holes in the galaxy so much. We need more of them. People claim that instant teleportation is much faster than warp and dark energy, which is partly true. But actually, to the surprise of people, not all races like to open black holes near their planets. Wondering why? So it takes a very long time to move from the nearest neutral territory to the destination. And I want to see where they spend the remaining time advantage of a couple of hours. Clearly, worth it to fly through a black hole. By the way, speaking of moving from neutral territory to the desired planet, maybe, at least here, they use the warp, dark energy, solar sails after all. Of course not. Did you remember those nuclear warheads on the ship? It would be better if humans used them for intimidation, because they drop atomic bombs into space behind them when they need to gain speed without a wormhole, and then accelerate due to the blast wave concentrating in their direction. Hundreds of special directed nuclear explosions are required for adequate acceleration. But, as far as I know, their main governments have thrown a party in honor of the fact that they can spit on all the disarmament treaties and produce atomic weapons for civilian purposes, imperceptibly saving a certain percentage of military warehouses. Oh, I see you've prayed very well, although you were atheists before that, and still managed to get to Earth's orbit without collapsing along the way or exploding on a nuclear power keg. Well, there is already the usual anti-gravity in the atmosphere, and you can safely descend, right? Right? Humanity, for natural reasons, was left without natural resources for anti-gravity. So before the first contact, they were forgiven for having inefficient and dangerous aircraft. But now, they can buy the necessary assets from almost any race of the Union, right? I even have information about such a deal. We set a very friendly price for 100 galactic credits per kilogram. Well, for some reason, humans started to scold the very concept of anti-gravity, saying something about their future colonies, where they would potentially be able to extract this natural resource decades later. Then began trying to find signs of obsolescence and poor quality on the resource, making a big deal out of a molehill. At the end of almost every sentence, unclear why, they said the number 60. In the end, they took pity and decided to reduce the price to as much as 90 credits per kilogram. May the anti-dumping regulation forgive us. And what do you think? Humans continue to scold our product, but now they said 70 at the end of every sentence. As you understand, the deal did not take place, so let me show you the human transport for the atmosphere. I really hope that you will lose consciousness. By the way, this is only a fraction of a joke because of their fighter jets 10Gs is a very standard value. Before you find out that the human atmospheric shuttles move by burning fracking kerosene in liquid oxygen and throwing the results overboard at a tremendous speed, and it happens at almost under your seats. You know, if you use jet propulsion for something other than point maneuvering, then why can't you just blow air through a pressure difference? Come on, it's the humans. Well, as far as I can see, you're still alive and even haven't had a nervous breakdown. Well, it'll end sometime. And when I say it'll end, I don't mean that idiotic human modes of transport will end. I mean that your enthusiasm and optimism will end. What is the best way to get from the spaceport to the meeting place? It seems through the air again. Don't worry, no jet engines this time. It's just a piece of iron flying at the expanse of knives that made a couple of 100 revolutions per second over its roof. If jet-powered transports often have wings, so in the accident you can safely land to the ground. Then here, under unforeseen circumstances, you'll learn human expression flattened into a pancake. I wouldn't be surprised if humanity came up with types of individual flights, for example, put someone on a powder keg and undermine it. Or else you can just use pieces of fabric to smoothly fall from height like a tree leaves during a leaf fall. Hey, humans, these are all ideas for you. Well, it seems that there is a strong crosswind now and the helicopters are not flying. You are very lucky. Or not. Now you will have to use land transport. Well, there are already so many options to come up with something adequate. For example, electric motors. Although even here we can find a problem because part of human energy is produced at nuclear power plants, and if you consider it safe to launch a neutron into a heavy nuclei to destroy them and release new neutrons from the chain reaction, then I also attach photos of Chernobyl to the text. Returning to the topic, I represent dialogue of human engineers. One says, let's make cars powered by electricity from wind turbines and solar panels on the roof. The second, we can use hydrogen fuel. And the third says, let's use explosions of environmentally dirty fuel right in our engine so that'll push the pistons, and if it seems too boring, then you can put 4 such pistons side by side. And everyone in the room starts applauding him. Well, you reached the meeting alive. Oh, you walked on foot. It's not a bad choice. I want to make you happy. People didn't come up with anything strange inside the building. Ordinary stairs, ordinary mechanical elevators with emergency brakes. I'm surprised. Kidding. Meet the escalator. If people can't come up with a new dumb mode of transport, then they just combine the existing ones. The staircase, which is driven by an engine similar to an elevator engine. If you think it's safe in comparison to the previous ones, then please, when you get access to human internet, enter the query, the escalator collapsed during rush hour, or a person was sucked into the escalator. Oh, and one more thing after all, you will have to do the same path in reverse order. That is why we have allowed our diplomats to use the transport of their races for meetings that are held on territories of humans. And you know what? Everyone likes it. The path I describe has become a popular challenge of the extreme category amongst young people. Even humans are not offended. The reactions of aliens to turbulence during landing collects millions of views. Let it remain that way, because I don't want to hear anything about human engineering anymore. What means submarine? End of story. I would quickly like to thank the Tier 5 members, Marky, Cam Maxwell, Caspar Arnolds, Oakfield, Lord Azrakul, and it's difficult to pronounce. Thank you very much.